Hello everyone, this is David, Fairly Secret Music. This is my 1993 favorite albums, and I'm going back to the original way of doing it because there's too many to make a top 10, so I am having honorable mentions, and I will do my honorable mentions first. Of course, the rules of my top favorite albums of that year, I had to have listened to it during that year. I couldn't go back and listen to it. So let's get right to the honorable mentions. Mind Over 4, halfway down. If this was their first album year, I would have totally had that in my top 10. This is fantastic, and it's super weird and kind of like, if you are interested in bands like Mindfunk or Soundgarden, this might appeal to you, but they're a lot weirder than that. But this album was awesome. I would have seen them on this tour, except for I wasn't 21 when this album came out yet. So that kind of sucks. Hello.
Hi.
That was my wife. She's down here, I think, doing some laundry or something.
I didn't know you were still recording.
I am recording. Okay, so are you gonna make an appearance?
I am. Would I like any of these bands?
Oh, maybe.
The bad look. Bad angle. Bye.
You're such a dork. Actually, you would like probably the first three of my top 10. I will tell you what my wife loves out of my top 10 and what she absolutely would hate.
Top 10 for what?
For that year.
What year?
1993.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you later.
Bye.
So, Disincarnate, she would absolutely... So now I have to say, she would hate Mind Over 4. Disincarnate, she would absolutely hate. Look at this amazing Dave McKean artwork. This is James Murphy's band. After he did stuff with Death and Obituary and... oh gosh, who else did he play? I think he played with Cancer. He did this project, a one-off project that I hope some point they do a second album, but this was fantastic. There's a song on here, Why Don't I Take the Slipcase Off? And that's right, Mike. This is the expanded edition by Roadrunner. The song, I think it is Monarch of the Sleeping Marches, has Aaron from My Dying Bride on it, and this was before I knew who My Dying Bride were. This was one of the first death metal albums that I got after Death Human. There's also a song on here called Dead Spawn, which is another relation to something I love, and that is Brian Lumley Necroscope books. Oh, that's right. I was going to go up and get a razor to take all these price tags off. Anacrusis, Screams and Whispers, or Anacrusis. Sorry. This is a crazy thrash band with a singer who sings very melodically, but then he does these screams that are awesome, kind of like a black metal singer, but more melodic. This is awesome. Metal Blade band. I think you can get all of their stuff free for download on their website. Sting, 10 Summoner's Tales. I really liked this when it came out. I was such a huge fan of Soul Cages that this one was listened to a lot, but it has kind of fallen off since. The Best Living Colour album. Doug Wimbish started playing bass with them and just blows the whole thing out of the water. It's so great. The whole band is super awesome on this, but the bass is in my opinion, the superstar of this album. And this is something that I know Metal Mickey had in his top 10. I liked it, but at the time I didn't like it more than the first Mind Funk album. And this one also had Everman in it. What was his name? Jason Everman in it on guitar. And it's fantastic. It is a Dark Horse album. It is so different than their first album, and this is an album that should be considered in with all that other grunge stuff, or heavy 90s indie rock. So those were my honorable mentions. So what makes my top 10? Which is weird that some of these are not making my top 10. Number 10, my wife would love this. You like the Cranberries, right?
No.
Oh, she doesn't like the Cranberries. Zombie! Zombie!
You have to let it
Have to let it linger.
But I do like me some October.
Okay, so she doesn't like the Cranberries. This is the extended version with, like 6 or 7 extra songs on it. 6 songs extra on it. This album just, I can listen to this over and over again, and I usually don't get bored with it. It's just awesome. Barb is my wife. Barb does like October Project. This is a weird band with a singer who has more of an operatic voice. Think of like kind of Sarah McLachlan, or I don't know who else. Kind of just very radio friendly stuff with a singer who has a very operatic voice, and just this is so awesome. What's it?
I would call it hauntingly beautiful.
She calls it hauntingly beautiful. Okay. She's still down here doing stuff. Good Lord, how good of a opening debut album is this? Counting Crows, August and Everything After. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are like, are you kidding me? Top 10, Counting Crows. That's right, I can listen to stuff that's not metal. Check out October Project. They are the furthest thing from metal. But this album is nothing but great songs. I mean, they had what? Round Here, Mr. Jones, I think those, well, so two big singles, maybe Omaha, I can't remember what else. But this version also has an original version of Omaha that's very rockin'. This was just really great. I saw them on this tour with Frente opening, and it still is, how many years later? What was this, 93? When did I say this? Yeah, 93. It still holds up.
It's college, man.
What? That's college time, baby. I never see anybody talk about this band, Damn the Machine. This is Chris Poland from Megadeth and his brother Mark, with 2 other guys. They did this tour. They toured with Voivod on this album, and I missed that show. I will talk about that later in my thing. Just, they're kind of not even really thrashy. They're almost like on that verge of not being really a metal band, more rock, but just awesome. Just very little touches of progressive in there, little touches of metal, little touches of rock. Just check it out. Damn the Machine. Damn the Machine. Get yourself a can of pork soda. That's right. Primus, huge influence on my drumming. Tim Alexander, I thought was amazing. I saw them on this tour, and they totally blew me away. They were so good. This was when Les was playing fretless bass almost exclusively. He has since said he doesn't like playing fretless bass live because he has to concentrate too much. Just awesome. And it has one of my favorite songs called Nature Boy, which is one of the best guitar solos Larry Lalonde has ever done. When I originally saw that Tool were coming out with a new album, I was like, why does anybody need more Tool? Because I just saw the album cover of the EP Undertow, and I thought, that can't be a good band. Boy, was I wrong. This band blew everyone away in '93. Huge fan base, but not by the time that I saw them. Or no, not by the time they originally played Lollapalooza in my town. They were on the tiny stage. Probably hardly anyone was there watching them. I don't know though, because I missed it. Then like a year later, they came around for this album and played First Avenue in Minneapolis. And I walked out halfway through because they are so boring live. But they're great to listen to on record. Boring live. Voivod, Outer Limits. I could have seen this show with Damn the Machine opening, but I was too busy hanging out with my girlfriend at the time. What a moron. What a moron. I can't believe I missed them on this tour. This is one of my favorite Voivod albums, especially the song Jack Luminous. Also, Lost Machine and We Are Not Alone are on this album. Super awesome. The only downfall on this album is they do a Pink Floyd song called Nile Song. Or at least I think it's a Pink Floyd. It might be a Roger Waters or Dave Gilmour. I'm not sure. No, I think it's Pink Floyd from their soundtrack. I can't remember though. But don't like cover songs normally, and that one is one that I skip. Individual Thought Patterns by none other than Death. What an amazing album. This was super awesome. It has Gene Hoglan on drums, Steve DiGiorio on bass, fretless bass, and the bass is really nicely mixed, and Andy LaRocque playing guest guitar solos, and of course Chuck in top form. This is the most, in my opinion, the most progressive and challenging Death album, and the best songs, like, for the technical stuff. Bye! Overactive Imagination, Inhuman Form, Jealousy, just, oh, so awesome. I did not see them on this tour. I'm not even sure they toured Minnesota at this point. But I did see Cineq Focus. I saw them on this tour. They opened up for, what's that little band called? Cannibal Corpse, and I felt bad for Cannibal Corpse having to go on after Cineq. They played almost this whole album and were just mesmerizing. It was fantastic. They were also really nice. I met one or two of them. I asked Sean how his hi-hat was going along with his left foot, and he said he put his foot half on the one pedal and half on the other pedal. So the left foot has the hi-hat going along with his second bass drum. Just awesome. Just awesome. If you haven't heard this album, do yourself a favor. If you like technical death metal, this is just breaking down doors and bursting envelopes left and right. But my number one album, Thought Industry, Mods Carve the Pigs, Assassins, Toads, and God's Flesh. How could a band change so much yet get better from album to album? Technically this is the high watermark of their career. This is the original lineup that was on their first album. They have a song on here called Boil. They use tons of left and right panning. Think of a metal band that's really into like some industrial sounds and into thrash and into just crazy stuff. A friend of mine heard this and he was like, wow, did this come out before or after Tool? And I I said, I think it came out around the same time. And he said, because this sounds like Tool were really influenced by the weirdness of the album. It starts out with a song called Horsepowered, which it's like a schizophrenic song. It's just amazing. I love this album. And the drummer, Dustin Donaldson, was a huge influence on the way I put weird things and into my drumming and everything. And just, I cannot rave about this album more. The last half gets really kind of thrashy or heavier, and then it goes very acoustic for a while, and then it ends with a song called To Build a Better Bulldozer that is an instrumental song. And I love when bands aren't normally instrumental bands but do an instrumental song that just is super cooler than every other instrumental band out there. Just amazing. So Thought Industry, Mods Carved the Pig, Assassins, Toads, and Godflesh is #1 for 1993. All right.